Good evening, friends. How's everyone doing? Welcome to Temenos, Center of the Arts, Kol Nidrei, 5786, the Book of Fear. Welcome to all those who are joining us online from near and far. I'm at the end of a very long cold. We're going to shake a little bit before we light the candles and make our way into the holiday, which is our way to start most of the services. It's wonderful that the community is dissipating and reforming itself. The community that we were 2 years ago is dissipating and reforming itself on account of what's in the world and the vibrations that we've chose to be in. So it's so many new faces. So welcome. We're thrilled to have you to make this ceremony with us. So this is how we start all the time. Breathe in like this. Exhale. Breathe in. Exhale. Breathe in. Exhale. We're going to groan on this exhale. Breathe in. We are going to be unshy with each other. We're going to make unusual noises for first-time greetings. Breathe in. Exhale. The world is worth screaming over. Breathe in. Exhale. Take your left hand over your heart, your right hand over your left hand. Breathe in. Inhale. One more deep breath. If you'll take your hands and cover your eyes. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel yom tov lahadlik ner shel yom tov. We're going to begin with Shel Shel on page 3. There's a man in Gaza by the name of Ahmed Abu Amsa who has become a music teacher to the children wherever they've found themselves from exile to exile to exile. And he sets up as much of a little area as possible, and he has a guitar and he brings joy in the face of genocide. And they have drones that are flying overhead at all times, and the drones make a horrific noise bzzz, that is dangerous, and there's danger felt by the body, even when the ears hear it, but also felt by the body. And Ahmed took the drone one day, and insufferable as it was, and he sang the note that the drone was singing. So if you'll sing this note with us. A little louder, love. And we're going to be a community to each other, so when you have to breathe, somebody else can sing. Okay, so the note should be held. We're going to create, this is also called a drone. There's a violent drone and there's a musical drone that is a sensation of peace. One sec. Have to open your mouths to pray. الشاهد مطر بالهيل لا ليلو ويل ويل مي ويل ويلو لا السهر لا نجم الليل لا ندويل شيل شيل الجمال شيل يا هوا تقبل تم الشاهد مطر بالهيل يا ليلو ويل ويل تالي مي ويل ويلو من لا سر لا نجم الليل لا ندويل شيل شيل الجمال يا هوا تقبل دم الشهيد مطر بالليل يا ليلو ويل ويل الظالم ويل ويلو من لا سر لا نجم الليل لا ندويل شيل الجمال شيل يا هوا تقبل دم الشهيد مطر بالهيل يا ليلو ويل ويل مي ويل ويل من الله السر نجوم الليل شيل شيل الجمال شيل يا هوا تقبل دم الشهيد مطر بالهيل يا ليلو ويل ويل الظالمي ويل ويل من الله السهر على نجوم الليل أنا دويل We call this year the Book of Fears. After so much hearing about anti-Semitism, I finally understood that people were just really afraid, and we live in a culture that it's not okay to speak about how afraid you are, and sometimes the fears are real and sometimes the fears are not real, but we don't say that. People are just saying anti-Semitism instead of I'm afraid. And that it would make sense after 3,000 years of Jewish persecution that there would be fear. Tom, will you turn Max's dulcimer a hair down? You're gorgeous, Max. This is Max ZT on the hammer dulcimer. I'm honored to be amongst these eminent spirit-talking musicians. This is Zafar Tawil on the violin, Nene and vocal, Nazi Antakli playing percussion. So we said we have to welcome Jewish fear because it has spun out into evil unimaginable. Everybody, I drew this drawing on page 1. Can you see the drawing? This is what the Kabbalists call the tree of life. And we're making a corrective to all the bad Kabbalists who don't understand that justice and spirit go together. So let's call in all the energies. Would you like to call them in to awaken your being tonight? I hope so, yes? I thought we should do this. On Rosh Hashanah, we only did 2. Tonight, we're going to do the whole tree, but we're going to do it quickly, okay? Lift up your 10 fingers like this. There are 10 fingers if you're lucky. Some people don't have all their fingers. That's okay, too. Maybe you have phantom fingers then, but 10 fingers for the 10 energies, like you're holding 2 cups of blessing in your hands, and you can twinkle your fingers as if you're awakening each of the energies that we're about to speak towards. Touch over the top of your head like this. There's a spirit channel that goes from the top of your head to the heavens, and spirit is flowing into you at all times. You have a magical crown over your head. Give it a shush so it can feel like it's awakened. This is your point of Ein, nothingness, infinity. You're connected to the infinite flowing into you at all times. I can feel mine. Can you feel yours? Do this every day, once a day. Okay, now go like this to the sides of your head. On the right side, wisdom, chokhmah. This is self-consciousness. This is your thinking mind that is so smart. You can think through all your problems and figure them out so well. We're blessed with wisdom. And on the other side, bina. Understanding that comes in the night, that comes while you sleep, that comes while you dream, that comes while you said, I'm not going to think at all, and the best idea possible is going to come to me. The 2 of these together make a good thinking mind thing. Lower them a little bit so that they're at the sides of your heart. And on the right hand, call in all the people that loved you best in the world, the people that taught you love that's gracious and generous. Maybe grandmothers, grandfathers, lovers in their best moments, maybe children, maybe plants, maybe animals. Maybe it was a deer or a woodchuck or a tiger. On the left side, what begins as judgment. Today is the day of judgment, to be able to know this is my path, this is not my path, this is the world we want to make, this is not the world we want to make. Judgment, but also fear. Fear is in this hand. And can we dig deeper into ourselves? The world before us is asking us to dig into our underworlds. The soul that we lived with last year cannot hold the world this year. And if there's fears in the left hand are not attended to, they become evil. This is where evil comes through. And if you explore your fears on the left side and you deepen into your underworld, your love grows on the right side. They expand each other, exploring one and then exploring the other. Put them together over your heart. When you have them both together, they make beauty, tiferet, shining, joy. Close your eyes and feel a moment of jubilation that you may be very far from, but it was there, and you know what this place feels like. Ecstasy, great joy from including everything. Okay, hands down to the right leg and left leg. Your right leg says, I'm going to go change the world. I'm going to go make my path. I'm going to go find myself this year, who I'm supposed to be. And your left leg says, sometimes I just need to wait. Sometimes I'm going to wait for it to come to me. I'm receiving, I'm not pushing. Together, the 2 legs help us walk. Hands over the sex organs. This is the channel drawing life, the life force. It wants to draw it down and spread seed and receive seed and make new worlds with all the new energies we cultivate. And then hands down as if you can feel the roots of the earth coming up. You can feel the soles of your feet touching soil. And you plant these energies into the earth, and they make a flower. When all the energy is included, you become this beautiful plant that you are. An orchard, indwelling embodiment, Malchut, the moon. We're going to sing Ahava Rabba Ahavtanu. You've loved us with great love. We can explore the fear places more deeply by understanding the love. It's call and response. Ahava, 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 Rahaba, Ahava, Rahaba, Ahavtanu, Ahavtanu. Ahavta, Ahava, Ahava, Ahava Ramba, Aftanu, Ahavta, Ahanu, Ahavta. Ahava, Ahava, Ahava Ramba, Ahavta, Ahanu, Ahavta. Close your eyes. Try and find a point of stillness The ancestors of my lineage speak of a nikuda pnimit, an inner point that's rooted into the upper worlds and from which we draw our strength, and it's still. And when we practice the stillness of that point, it shapes all the other rhythms of our life. We're going to call out the Shema together on page 5. Deep and slow, big breath in. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. We're going to sing the Michamocha on page 7. Zafar is going to introduce us with a takasim. In the middle, Lacey Rose is going to read us a piece that is new to me, that is very old to our dear friend Sonia, that I picked for the boats that are probably being intercepted by the Israeli Navy, that no words for the horror to intercept boats full of food that are heading to starving people. So we'll make our prayers that more good can come and people who are wrapped up in evil can be less wrapped up in evil. Milchamoch on page 7. See. mi chamocha Bahelim Adonai mi chamocha Neder bakodesh Nora Tehilo Ose Fele Malechutecha Rahuvanecha Bokeya Lifne Moshe Zeheli Anu ve'amberu Adonai lo Leolam vaed. Easy melody. La 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 la.
May the tide that is entering even now, the lip of our understanding, carry you out beyond the face of fear. May you kiss the wind, then turn from it, certain that it will love your back. May you open your eyes to water, water waving forever, and may you and your innocence sail through this to that.
Baruch Ata Adonai Gad Yisrael. Bless you. Thank you, Lacey. Beautiful. We're going to make a prayer for peace on page 8. We learned a teaching on Rosh Hashanah from Rabbi Nachman. That Rabbi Nachman was a very unique, strange mind, and he says if you go to the place of fear, there you will find wholeness. If you go to the place of fear, there you will find wholeness. If you're searching for wholeness, go to the place of fear. I think he means by that fear is the most likely thing to be excluded from the circle. It's the thing to be left out, the last thing we want to look at. And so if you go to that place, it'll be whole because everything else was already there. Fear was the thing that was missing. So we spent all of Rosh Hashanah surfacing fears and feeding our demons, working with our demons, each personally, and the great Jewish monster demon that has become so evil because in my visioning it wasn't given safety, it wasn't fed safety. And there's a difference between physical safety and psychic safety. It needed psychic safety in addition to physical safety. It has physical safety, it needed psychic safety. And tonight we're going to look at complicity when fears are left unattended. So we make this prayer for peace, and I invite you to search out the fears that you haven't yet included in your circle. Our friend Castle is going to read a piece from Rafat al-Arir from Gaza, who I think his birthday was recently. We'll play first. Yeah, but come. We'll play for you. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך להושיע פרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך להושיענו. ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך להושיענו. Ready for you, Castle. Oh, sorry. It's Alec. It's not Castle, it's Alec. Sorry, Castle. Yes.
Who? If I must die, you must live to tell my story, to sell my things, to buy a piece of cloth and some strings Make it white with a long tail, so that a child somewhere in Gaza, while looking heaven in the eye, awaiting his dad, who left in a blaze, and bid no one farewell, not even to his flesh, not even to himself. Sees the kite, my kite you made, flying up above, and thinks for a moment an angel is there, bringing back love. If I must die, let it bring hope. Let it be a tale.
פרוסה עלינו סוכת שלומך, ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך להושיע. We've arrived at the heart of the service. The service tonight is called the Kol Nidrei, and there's a prayer which we're about to sing called the Kol Nidrei. The text is on page 10. I don't know what it means. Its meaning is ambiguous. Maybe it means something about the way in which we have a part of ourselves that is so sly that even the promises we make with the best of intentions, there's something sly within that's always eating away underneath, allowing for the easier option, allowing for something slightly duplicitous. We've had the honor of having my friends Skip and Coco perform on Yom Kippur for many years, and so we're going to weave their performance into the Kol Nidrei. Are you comfortable sitting, or do you think we need to stand? It's customary to stand, but I've grown towards sitting for even the parts they told us to stand for. There's something about keeping our attention without all the up and down. But traditionally you stand, so if you'd like to stand, feel free to stand. The other thing that is traditionally done is the Sefer Torahs, the Torah scrolls, are brought out of the ark to serve as witnesses. And we've been doing some strange things with the Torah scrolls. Many years ago, we already started doing strange things with the Torah scrolls. I went to a place in Crown Heights where they have stacks full of old Torah scrolls that are not kosher. And I said, how much does one of those not kosher Torah scrolls go for? And he said, $1,000. I said, I'll take it. I think another time I went back, I got one for $500. The Torah scrolls, I had the intuition that they were kept from the ark and nobody came to synagogue anyway, so you didn't get to see the Torah scroll too often. I said, what if we found a way to take the Torah scrolls out to our students? And the Torah scrolls are woven at the seams. Each piece of parchment is from an animal, so it's the size of a piece of an animal, and then it's woven together. And so I took the seams and I cut the seams near to where the books are, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus. Now, the books don't exactly end on a seam, so give or take a few lines. And then when I would go to a bat mitzvah lesson, I could carry the little Torah scroll in my backpack because it was only 1/5 of a Torah scroll. And it worked really well. It was so cool to show up at somebody's house, be like, I brought the Torah, do you want to see? And they got a lot of use, the non-kosher Torah scroll that had been handed to me in a garbage bag. I was like, really? The Torah scrolls have lost their sacredness. Last year on Yom Kippur, I wrote an essay entitled The Burning a Torah Scroll. And it was an art piece about the concept of sacrificing a Torah scroll because the Torah scrolls were being so devalued that the words were not holding their power, and maybe an offering of that magnitude could help some of the evil of this world escape and not torment us any longer. Tonight, I did not bring a Torah scroll because I did not feel that they would be witnesses strong enough for the prayers. Tomorrow in Yizkor, I'm going to read some of the names of, in my estimation, the hundreds of thousands of people and babies that have been killed in Gaza, and I wanted to read some of their names just so that the gravity of the moment touches our hearts. I thought this would be better than calling in Torah scrolls. I'm not calling in their souls. They get to be somewhere else, and hopefully they are in peace. But I thought this would be a better way to open the Kol Nidrei than with a Torah scroll. So let's take a breath and we're going to begin the prayer. Al da'at hamakom v'al da'at hakahal b'shiva shel mala v'shiva shel mata anu matirin litpalel ima varyanim. Rimas Mohammed Eid Abu Jarad, Yosef Hamdi Tawfiq Al-Ashi, Qasim Hussein Subhi Al-Sarhi, Yazan Rashad Zaki Al-Qassas, Asma Allah Yusuf Shabat, Hani Jamil Al-Abdil Gamri, Mohammed Hamdi Barham Shahwan, Malaka Omar Sami Al-Arabid, Ramadan Mahmoud Ahmed Al-Barai, Fadl Saeed Hamid Eliwa, Malak Maher Ali Al-Shanbari, Muhammad Abdul Nasser, Muhammad Al-Masri, Akram Abdul Rahim Ahmed Ghanem, Raid Muhammad Atta Al-Nairab, Suhaib Jihad Muhammad Abu Ashiba, Asil Ali Hassan Shaheen, Ubaida Muhammad Ismail Siam, Shadi Saeed Ahmed Shabet, Muhammad Ahmed Shaban Al-Zaim, Lubab Hussam Abdallah Al-Absi, Bassam Suleiman Nabhan Al-Magari, Ruwaida Muhammad Yusuf Abu Aida, Saleh Musa Abdullah Abdul Latif, Ahmed Kamal Mahmoud Shahada, Yasser Sakar Yasser Abdul Al, Faraj Jamil Ibrahim Al-Zinati, Naima Wail Sharif Asaf, Mara Hassan Mahmoud Salam, Nur Sami Yusuf Al-Khudari, Hassan Fauzi Hassan Driwi, Mahmoud Jalal Muhammad Tafish, Ranza Ali Saeed Matar, Adel Ahmed Ismail Abu Dair, Ali Yusuf Suleiman Al-Hussein, Fadi Khalid Mahmoud Shaheen, Muhammad Abdel Karim Nimr Hirs, Hamud Hassan Saleh Karmut, Saeed Abdullah Muhammad Abu Mahadi, Ashraf Nahid Rajab Al-Rifi, Aya Osama Mahmoud Abu Samra, Badr Muhammad Badr Al-Adgam, Ahmed Jamal Hussein Al-Bardawil, Loreen Allah Numan Al-Jalis, Khadija Anwar Muhammad Al-Naji, Hadi Ahmed Nimr Mahani, Latifa Nafith Shakhta Al-Sharif, Razan Al-Muhammad Jasser Al-Katati, Marwati Hussein Mahmoud Banat, Zain Muhammad Khalid Al-Khubi, Amal Isam Mahmoud Al-Khalut. Ubaid Amu Samra, Omar Usamad Muhammad Shakhta Abu Masbeh, Omar Abdallah Mustafa Maruf, Yahya Ahmed Khalil Al-Anka, Nur Raid Abdullah Yassin. Kol Nidrei Yesarei Charameh V'chonameh V'chinduye v'chinuse u'shevo Kol Nidrei v'yesarei v'charamei v'chonamei v'chinuye v'chinusei u'shevo Kol Nidrei v'yesarei v'charamei v'chonamei v'chinusei u'shevo Dahalna udishtahaba avana udiafahari mana vidiyasar naha Shahata Ana Miyom Kippurim Ze Ahad Yom Kippurim Haba Aleinu Letova Kulon Acharatana Abeon Kulon Yehov Sharan Shevikin V'tehelin Mvutalin Shevikin V'tehelin Mvutalin La Sheririn V'la Chayamin Nidarena La Nidrei U'shevo Tanala Shevo
Can you hear me? This piece is called Amelia Found. We originally made it with Amelia Earhart in mind, and at the time, it was really about this idea of floating grief. And floating grief is it's a concept that is used when someone disappears, and there's nowhere for the people who are grieving that loss to land their grief. So we were exploring this idea of floating grief, and through Amelia Earhart. When you came in, you might have given us one of your fears. Those fears have been translated into Morse code and are going to be played by Rabbi Zach throughout the performance of this piece. Originally, and it's going to be sung by Lacey Rose and played by Skip Shirey, and I'll dance. And my son may or may not interrupt, which is welcome. Originally, Lacey Rose would do the Morse code, but as you can see, she's pregnant. And early this morning, Skip said, I don't want all that fear going through her body. So instead, Zach has generously offered to take that role. And that's...
It's nice that we created this piece, and it was an art piece, right? And now it's a useful piece. It's useful. It's part of this community, and I hope this helps the fears we lose. And it's very familiar art and and this is my grandfather's Morse code key, and it's big and wonderful, and I couldn't get the oscillator to work this morning, so we're using this app from Morse code. When Lacey was young, her uncle was an astronaut, and she would stand in the backyard and flashing messages. There's a lot of little things happening here. All right, and you can see it as a prayer. we're going to make 2 more prayers together, and then I'm going to share some words. Now, Castle ready, Castle and company for the Al-Khayt, which will be on page 13. The confessionary prayers of Yom Kippur are always in the plural, both the 2 prayers, the Ashamnu, which we're not going to do tonight, and the Al-Khayt on 13, which we're going to do now. Nu is the Hebrew suffix for we. All the sins are for what we did, as if we're all responsible for each other. And so I sent out to the listserv, which not as many people respond to, so I tracked a few Temenos diehards down and asked, will you help us with the list? And that email got some traction, and now I'll have new friends to do that with next year. And so the list that you'll hear is composed by Temenos friends from all over. I'm going to sing a little bit of the Al-Khayt, and then we'll read the traditional gesture. Coco has taught me all about gesture. I've learned so much from her about gestures is to hit the heart, to strike the heart. I don't know what gesture will be right for you. Sometimes it's more gentle. Maybe this year, like Thelonious was smacking me in the heart outside of services. Maybe you need to be smacked. Whatever gesture is the right gesture with each sin over your heart. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך באונס וברצון, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך באימוץ הלב, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בבלי דעת, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בביטוי שפתיים, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בילוי ובסתר, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בדיבור פה, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בדעת ובמרמה, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך ברוח הלב. ועל כולם אלוה הסליחות, שלח לנו, מחל לנו, כפר לנו.
For the sin of looking away, not speaking up, for the sin of speaking promises without follow-through.
Garbage, grease, and mess, hard to clean up. Fearfulness associated with being, the externals, the simple words, the easy ones, the sweet words, thirst, water all around.
For the sin of genocide, ethnic cleansing, entitlement, dispossession, disrespect of land and people, white supremacy and Western supremacy, forsaking the bond of humanity, reduction of pain and suffering.
For the sin of ignorance.
For the sin of thinking safety is predicated on the erasure of others, swallowing injustice to maintain comfort, avoiding grief at the expense of numbing joy, valuing some lives more than others.
For the sin of not trusting each other enough to stop an active and highly visible genocide, not believing my voice can make a difference, going on with daily life while bombs drop on people and the earth, forgetting that we are all one, for the sin of believing empire acts in service of freedom, falling for propaganda.
Tribalism, judgment, not questioning, not speaking out, not listening, not learning, condescension, superiority, superficiality, self-righteousness, self-importance, selfishness, not letting go, greed, grievance, resentment, mistrust, bad faith, harm, vanity, fundamentalism, avoidance, waste, hair pulling, finger wagging, not being kind.
For the sin of not listening with our hearts, internalized oppression, making excuses, avoiding conflict, not holding ourselves accountable, not holding others accountable.
For the sin of waiting for horror before reimagining what has been and what could be, giving more to counting and accumulating rather than to magic, a memory factory that made us believe we could never be monsters, insisting on closeness only in collapse and not in joy, letting our elders age in loneliness, seeing ourselves only capable of the last century and not the one in formation, rushing, overthinking, and judging as core muscles, expertise in reason and words, but not in music and rhythm, cultivating toward perfection and not adaptation.
For the sin of ignoring my body, staying silent, isolating, thinking I'm alone, numbing out, responding too quickly, not believing my instincts.
For the sin of cyclone fences with barbed wires, walls, checkpoints on every corner, different roads for different people, uprooting trees that others planted, stealing donkeys, cutting electric wires, expelling people from their homes, bombing hospitals, schools, cities, and homes, refusing recognition, using food as a weapon, using water as a weapon, using law as a weapon, using weapons.
Take some moments to list your own sins. כולם אלוה סליחות שלח לנו מחל לנו כפר לנו. אבינו מלכנו חננו וענה אבינו מלכנו חנינו ועננו, כי אין בנו מה. אמנו מלכתנו, אמנו מלכתנו. חנינו ועננו, אמנו מלכתנו, חנינו ועננו, כי אין בנו מה. עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד, עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד והושיע. אבינו מלכנו, חנינו ועננו, אבינו מלכנו, חנינו ועננו, כי אין בנו מס. אמנו, אמנו מלכתנו, חנינו ועננו, אמנו מלכתנו, חנינו ועננו, כי אין בנו מה. עשה צדקה, עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד. You guys want to take 15 minutes? Everybody take a breath. Exhale. Give a little shake if you want to have a shake. If you want to keep it, put it on your heart. I'm a child sitting on the porch of my grandmother. She's smoking cigarettes. The willow tree surrounds us, planted for her eldest grandchild, Ayla. And the other trees catching up slowly, watching from below how the willow holds us. It is nearing twilight. We are writing stories. We are telling the stories, and she is transcribing them. And then she interrupts us. She says, "I love twilight." She goes inside to fetch a book of Vincent van Gogh paintings. She demonstrates the correct pronunciation of his name, Van Gogh, in her Israeli accent. Van Gogh, she shows us his twilights, and we watch twilight come over us. What does it mean to be complicit to genocide? My question for this evening is not about dollars and economics, politics, or propaganda. All the basics, please, God, I hope you're doing. Going to protests, taking your money out of things that are funding genocide, putting up watermelons, making uncomfortable conversations, not allowing Zionism and Jewish supremacy to continue without you stopping and saying, no, this is not what we were taught our religion is. My question for tonight is different. What's it mean to be spiritually of the moment that genocide is happening? What does it mean to reckon with being of the generation of the genocide of Gaza? We are no different than the average German in the years of the Holocaust. And what does it mean to witness such evil? How is one's soul rearranged if one really sees the evils perpetrated in our name? Okay, that's my question. Complicity, the state of being an accomplice, partnership in wrongdoing or an objectionable act. 1650s from the French complicité, from Old French complice, accomplice, comrade, companion, 14th century. From late Latin complicem, partner, confederate, from the Latin complicare, to fold together, with, together, plicare, to fold, to weave. I found a section of the Talmud that deals with this question, and I'm going to, throughout this discussion, look at 3 or 4 quotes. Kol mi she'efshar limchot l'anshei beito v'lo micha nitpas al anshei beito b'anshei iro nitpas al anshei iro b'chol ha'olam kulo nitpas al kol ha'olam kulo. Anyone who had the capability to protest, to intercede, it's not to go to a protest, to intercede the sinful conduct of the members of his household, and they did not protest, they themselves are apprehended, nitpas, held responsible for the sins of the member of their household and punished. If they're in a position to protest the sinful conduct of the people of their town, and they fail to do so, they are apprehended for the sins of the people of their town. If they're in a position to protest the sinful conduct of the whole world, and they fail to do so, they're apprehended for the sins of the whole world. From Tractate Shabbat 54b. We are complicit in what is close to us, beside us, proximate to our horizons, to the energies and values we keep in our homes, the emotions we bestow to our partners, to our children, to ourselves. We're complicit to our town, and now in a global world where we instantly consume images and vibrations from the other side of the world, we are complicit, that is, in a position to protest the sinful conduct of the whole world. Tafas, we are caught up in, folded in with, but this was not the word I was looking for. Myth, we're going to enter a mythic image from Ezekiel chapter 9. I'm basically going to read it down. Excuse me. Then God called loudly in my hearing, saying, "Approach, you who are in charge of the city, each bearing his weapons of destruction. And 6 demons, fury, wrath, rage, destruction, brokenness, and annihilation, entered by way of the upper gate, each with the weapon in his hand. Among them was another one, clothed in linen, with a writing case at his waist. The figure clothed in linen with the writing case at his waist was summoned, and God said to them, 'Pass through the city, through Jerusalem, and mark on the foreheads of the persons who moan and groan because of all the evils that are committed in it.' The demons were told, 'Follow him through the city and strike, show no pity or compassion. but do not touch any person who bears the mark of those who protested. Begin here at my sanctuary." And so they began with those who were in the front of the temple. And God said to them, "Defile the house and fill the courts with the slain, then go forth." And so they went forth. When they were out killing, I remained alone. I flung myself on my face and cried out, "My God, are you going to annihilate all that is left of humanity, pouring out your fury?" The answer came, "The iniquity is very great. The land is full of crime. The city is full of corruption. They say, 'Spirit has forsaken the land.' God does not see. I, in turn, will show no pity or compassion. I will give them their deserts." And the one clothed in linen with the writing case at his waist brought back word, saying, "I have done as you commanded me." I make pie in the days of genocide and starvation. I build my first garden. There's a rhubarb plant behind the old chicken coop that has grown on the land much longer than we have. There are strawberry plants that were the first fruits of our new garden, gifts from friends, some from Gora at the girls' school, some from Taylor's garden, also from Gora. Strawberry rhubarb is the first pie of the season. There will be blackberry and blueberry and peach and apple. I learned this year, though I have made 1,000 pies, that I was making the dough entirely wrong. Overworking the butter. It needed to be folded in, not crushed, large flat pieces hand mixed with the flour, then folded. This is what makes the crust flaky. I forget the children of Gaza. I remember the children of Gaza. They are folded in. The consumers of the pies remember the children of Gaza. Eating the most regular act of complicity with the world. Or they do not. Sometimes I ask, sometimes I don't. How often they are on their hearts, on their lips. Often I can tell by their Instagram, by the choices they make of their life, by the words on their tongue. Is everything political, or have they cordoned off sections of life? Here is work, here is spirituality. Maybe there's a small section in the garden for justice, small and covered over in weeds. And here are the large holes in their prayers when they come to stand before God, feigning truth. The rabbis ask, what is the meaning of the taf, the sign that's on the marks of those that protested? Rav said it's a sign of tichyeh, you will live. Shmuel said, tamut, you will die. Rabbi Yochanan said it's for tachon, we'll have mercy. The merit of the ancestors continues for us. Reish Lakish says, it is the last letter of the seal of the Holy One. Just as Rabbi Chanina taught, the seal of the Holy One, which is emet. Aleph mem taf, truth, is the letter on the heads of those that protested. What's the truth? What's the truth that so many are fearful to speak? That for months and months, from October 7th, nearly every rabbi, liberal, Orthodox, it didn't matter, every moral leader of the Jewish people, save a few hundred, refused to sign a letter calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. That for months Palestinians called it genocide, and anyone who listened and amplified their calls was blacklisted, fired, thrown off campus, spurned. The truth is that Judaism is complicit. I have read thousands and thousands of hate-filled pages of sacred texts that I ignored because I believed them worthless. But they were signs of all the fear and hate and trauma buried in our psyche that we didn't feel had to be attended to because we were the eternally oppressed. The truth is, there's a fascist Judaism. There are other Judaisms too, but nothing is pure. We speak the same prayers as the fascist Jews. We say the same blessings. What's the truth? That reading the vulnerable, venomous, liberationist language of one person or one rabbi does not count as speaking it yourself. Showing up to Yom Kippur doesn't absolve us of genocide. I abhor my title now. It is dripping with violence and lies and hate and evil. All the oppressions of Jewish history are filled with terror and trauma, but they did not demand the soul reckoning that we face right now. To have to live with the truth, not only that genocide was done to us, but now we are the perpetrators of genocide, an entirely different soul reckoning. In the last days of summer, we have to spend hours at the doctor's office getting my kiddos shots and checkups to begin school on time. I'm so exhausted that day. We decide on dinner at Rhinebeck's Dell's Roadside Burger and Ice Cream Shack as the end of summer festivity. My doctor had looked at my tongue and advised me to eat more meat, so I ordered a cheeseburger. I love cheeseburgers usually. Consume it with children dripping all over me. I can barely open my eyes. That night when I get into bed, my stomach turns and turns. Weeks before, I had watched a video of a young boy, 13 years or so, carrying the flesh of his father in a bag slung over his shoulder. In the act of gathering the flesh of his father, all of the flesh did not make it into the bag. I see only the back of the boy, and there are pieces of flesh on his shoulder, on his navy blue t-shirt. The flesh I ate for lunch has become the flesh of the father carried by the child. This was not the first image of flesh in bags that I had seen. I descend the steps and vomit the burger. The purge sends me into night visions of terror that continue for many hours until I can fall asleep. Back to the Talmudic discussion of complicity. There are two contradictory verses that they pull from the Torah. One from Deuteronomy reads, "Parents shall not be punished for the sins of their children, neither shall children be punished for the sins of their parents." Every person is responsible for their own sins. But the other verse from Exodus reads, "Visiting the iniquity of fathers upon children and upon the children's children unto the third and fourth generation." The rabbis resolved the contradiction. There, in the verse where the children are punished for the deeds of their ancestors, are circumstances in which the children adopt the actions of the ancestors as their own. When I prepare, sometimes last year it was strange, Yom Kippur got written before Rosh Hashanah, and then Rosh Hashanah got written later. This year, Rosh Hashanah, everything came, and this material was written in the week before. So I read it 6 days ago, and when I read it, Netanyahu had just given his speech at the UN, and he had said, "Did the Nazis ask the Jews to leave? Kindly leave, go out. Do others? Do you want me to name all the genocidal leaders of history?" And when I saw the video clip, I said, I couldn't wrap my head around the logic. You're comparing yourself to the Nazis as a good comparison when it was a confession. It was so clear that his deeds are so, because of the unattended fears, they are in perpetual Holocaust because of being unable to take into the body the unbearability of Holocaust trauma. It's now being repeated again and again and again and again. Circumstances in which the children adopt the actions of the ancestors as their own. When I read it, I understood that ancestors can go through our bloodlines, and the ancestors are being called in big now. But we can also take on the ancestors of the people who traumatized us as our own. The Nazis become our ancestors if we're unable to look at the trauma and fear and we perpetuate their acts. My great-grandfather was a famous Torah scholar. He was a prodigy student as a young child. He memorized all of the books by the time he was 5, 6, 7, 8. And by 16 or so, he was publishing a periodical of all of the greatest minds of Eastern Europe. Last year, I was trying to understand the long arc, because Zionism has been so swift over 4 generations. I was trying to understand of the arc from pre-Holocaust, through Holocaust, through 67, through my childhood. I hadn't read, first let me show you his book. I found on eBay the book that he had worked on as a teen. This is the edition from December 1922. I had studied his works as the majority of my graduate studies in rabbinical school, midrash, the folklore. I was not interested in the legal aspects of Judaism at all. I was entirely interested in the folkloric material, and he had an encyclopedia that was this big, and he died in the middle. He didn't finish writing it. It was so big. I had not read any of his political writings. I went and found the book he wrote in 67 when the occupation of the West Bank begins. And it turns out it's some of the most violent, disgusting, hateful, racist material that was taken up by the most fundamentalist settlers in the West Bank as their founding documents. And his daughter and my grandfather fought in the Independence War in the Nakba. My grandfather lost his leg. Am I continuing in the ways of my ancestors? I think about my grandparents, my great-grandparents, and what they would think of the stance that we've chosen to name all of the worst things being committed by the Zionist entity when all the other Jewish communities or so many other are afraid to do so. And we're grateful for all those that are standing in courage and truth alongside us, but we are a tiny minority. There's something inside of Jews who have not faced their fears, which still, even after the sin of genocide, perceives the works of anti-Zionist Jews and all those pursuing Palestinian liberation as a movement which is threatening to the Jewish community. When in fact, the people doing the most damage to Judaism in Israel are the ardent Zionists, pursuing occupation, pursuing apartheid, pursuing war, pursuing genocide, as if these are means to achieving the safety and well-being of Israel. And they are entirely misguided, deluded, swept up in trauma and fear. We're pursuing a free Palestine with all of our hearts for a people that has been brutalized and robbed, genocided by colonial powers, a devil's bargain the Jews took after the Holocaust. And we're pursuing that because we know what that experience is like. We're pursuing a free Palestine because we know it is the way of justice and compassion that will create real safety for all the people that live between the river and the sea. And the acts of the present are capable of healing the ancestral lines. My great-grandfather couldn't see it. My grandparents didn't know what was happening, and they could have. I hope my actions are healing backwards. Here's the word for complicit. I'm so sorry. For complicit in Hebrew that I was looking for. The last verse from Leviticus. The sound of a fallen leaf will put them to flight, fleeing as though from the sword. What a great image. The sound of a fallen leaf will put them to flight. Fleeing as though from a sword, they will fall though no one pursues. And they shall stumble on one another with no one pursuing. They shall stumble over one another. V'chashlu ish b'achiv. What does it mean? They shall stumble over one another. Ish ba'avon achiv. It means they're responsible for each other's evil ways. They're responsible for each other's sins. They're complicit with each other's sins. Shekulan arevim ze bezeh. It's a very famous line for we're all mixed up with one another. We're all folded in together. All the children are our children. Arevim. Eruv is the fine boundary line around a community. It's the edges. And Erev is evening, twilight. One last story. There's a lot of names in this story. If you miss any of the names, I hope you'll catch the energy. My father was married before he met my mother. He married his high school sweetheart. Her name was Ellie Spetner. They were married for a few years. They made a home together. And then on the way to a wedding in California, Ellie, Uncle David, Aunt Rochelle, and my dad were in a car accident. And Ellie and Rochelle were killed. Rochelle was the best friend of my grandmother, Bracha. Their mothers had been best friends in the shtetls of Poland. And their children, my father, Carmi, and Elliot, were best friends. 3 generations. My father lost his wife and a mother figure. Elliot lost his mom and his best friend's wife. And my grandmother lost her best friend and her daughter-in-law. At the time, Elliot was in a relationship with a woman named Deborah, but it had hit a snag, and Deborah fled to Mexico, to Oaxaca, to go sit at the feet of the grandmother weavers and learn their craft. A few weeks in, she awoke at night to strange dreams, and in the morning, Elliot called to tell her that his mother had died in a car crash. She got on a plane to St. Louis and ended up staying at my grandparents' house. My grandmother, deep in grief, took her to get clothes. She only had hippie attire. They cooked together. They made Shabbat. She slept in the basement where my grandmother kept her weaving studio. She stayed beside looms, a large one and a small one, and bins of yarn that would one day be a wall of textures for my childhood reveries. She folded her grief into acts of kindness. I had known this story, but I called Deborah to refresh my memory a few days ago. And she told me that her grief was entirely unspoken. She didn't say any words, but with every small act, Deborah could feel her kindness. Do this, put this here. Eventually, they sat at the loom together. My grandmother was a master weaver, and she taught Deborah to weave. And on the full moon of this month, I was trying to descend as deeply as I could into what it means for the Jewish community to be complicit in genocide. And my body had already erupted multiple times. I had pulled a hernia in my stomach. I had ripped open my back. And now I was at the edge of my soul breaking. And Deborah's name appeared in my email. I called her. I wanted to catch up. We hadn't talked in some time. And I told her where I was at the edge of the abyss of facing what it means for Jews to be recreating Holocaust. And she heard my voice, and she said, "You don't get to go into the cave right now. You have a congregation, you have daughters. Get your ass out of the cave." And I took her words as a sign. I took her words as a hand to pull me up and to balance me. I was descending and creating a world entirely of fear. And she said, make it out of love also. I found a song by Hamza El-Din that appeared that day called Childhood. That's one of the sweetest songs I know. And when I first heard the song, I said I could never, ever, ever play this song. And that day I said, I'm going to learn how to play this song. And this week at a concert, I felt that maybe something mysterious about Deborah and my grandmother being at the loom together, weaving threads together. Something in that experience, some message was put into her that she wouldn't be able to deliver until a grandchild was born and grew to 40 years and was at the edge of a breakdown and would need saving. And with a mysterious phone call that she not knew about, my grandmother had passed it through Deborah and pulled me out of a place that maybe I was not ready to be. Maybe it was for a few months down the line, not in the presence of the congregation on Yom Kippur. We are complicit, we are evening unto one another. Arev, we are twilight to each other, to everyone, to the people near and far. And we're passing messages so secretly by our vibrations, directly and then through grandchildren, through generations backwards and forwards. We are a tiny minority of Jews who are capable of being present to the profoundness of the pain of this moment. And we're going to bring peace to a troubled river by our acts of bringing people in to the peace of this evening and saying, our love is big enough to hold how much pain we feel. If you'll rise with me, we'll make the mourners come. Zaf, we're ready in a second to conclude with a song. I invite you to welcome all of those we're mourning, those who've died today, Dr. Jane Goodall, this week and this month, all the martyrs of Gaza, and all our beloveds we've lost, all the ancestral lines we're hoping to bring healing to. Yitkadal v'yitkadash mei rabba, be'alma divrach rutei, ve'amlich malchutei. B'chaychon v'yomechon v'chayed chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'yimaru, amen. Yehei shmei rabba mvorach leolam lalmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudusha brichu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata de'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlam rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru. Oseh shalom b'mrama v'hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yal kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May great peace flow like a fountain. May we be comforted and lifted and given strength. May be seated. Thank you for suffering through my cough. Thank you to our team. Thank you, Tom and Jay. Jay's incredible. He's up in that corner. You can give him a wave and a thank you. Thank you, Jay. He operates the streaming to all over the universe. So if you're watching all over the universe, big thank you to Jay. Tom's on our sound. Thank you to our musicians. Thank you to Skip and Coco and Thelonious. Thank you to everybody for being here and coming and making prayers with us. We start 10 a.m. tomorrow. I think that's good for now. Did I miss anything? Okay. We wrote a song just this last week or two. The title came from a record by the incredible Mauritanian Dimi Mint Abba. Her song was called Lord Bring Apartheid Crashing Down. I said we should have a song with that title. I asked my friend Yulia if she would write the lyrics, and we borrowed a melody from another amazing album that's listed in your program on page 18 that's worth checking out. This is Pete Seeger meets Mauritania. Maybe you'll sing the chorus with me. I'll teach you. Lacey's going to help me because I can't even open my mouth. Does somebody have an extra book? Could I borrow? Thank you, Castle. No, I'm okay. It's the end. We made it. When the hands we outstretch are shaking with fear, when the mouth of the river twists and turns into lies, when we swallow mud, when anger leaches blood, when beetles devour the flesh of the trees, when all terror poisons the soil, when drones scream into night, when the children lie awake for years and years and years, for years and years and years. When nightmare becomes flesh, when we run from death to death, when the dread claws us bone deep, when the rod is all our own. Let all things fall, they must fall. Let all things break, they must break. Lord, bring apartheid crashing down. Bring apartheid crashing down. When the earth bursts with sweetness unbound, when grief explodes into flower, when the child falls asleep in my arms, when the child falls asleep in my arms, when the crickets on the hill break out into song, a heart could leap with joy over all there is to love, over all there is to love. Let all things rise, they must rise. Let all things bloom, they must bloom. crashing down. Bring about tide crashing down. Let all things rise that must rise. Let all things bloom that must bloom. Lord, bring about tide crashing down. Bring about tide crashing down. Marto, everybody, keep your prayers strong. We'll see you at 10 in the morning.